So I'm just going to draw the human face with the anatomy and where the features are going to be and all that. To start with, I just have a round board. I'm just going to make a circle. So the first thing will be a circle, and let me find the center. We could do that with this board itself, and then mark the center, and then I'm just going to use the scale to just draw a line through the center. And so we know here's where it ends, and that will be the diameter, right? So from there you just need to have a egg shaped, which will be the face, the outline of the face. So it just starts with a circle. Just erase off the lines that you don't want, or you're like over drawing, like how I'm doing. We could just erase those lines which just do not fit in. Okay, so this egg I'm just removing off like the too many lines. Now I know the exact outline, so let me just erase and then have just one line which will be the outline. Okay, now this will be the face's outline, and I'm going to draw the center through the entire face. Okay, so now I'm just going to erase this off. You don't want like too many lines which are not needed at each stage. Now to mark the eye line, you just need to look for the top of the head, which is the crown, until the end of the chin, which is the 19 centimeters. So 19 divided by 2, we just need to do the divided by 2, which will be 9.5. So find the 9.5. Okay, that is the half from the crown to the chin. You just need to draw a line here, and this is where your eyes are going to come. And this, if you are like doing the face anatomy for the first time, it might look like, you know, the eyes are maybe gently on the top 1/3 of the head, but in real it is not. It is half from just the head to the chin. So after you've done the eye line, this eye line has to be divided into 5 parts. So this whole thing, this is a half, and then this is another half, which is the crown to eye, and eye to chin is like the equal. So from the eye, on the eye line, you measure, and then you have a 13. So 13, I just want to divide it by 5. So I'm dividing the eye line by 5, and that is 13. So 13 divided by 5 is 2.6. You could do that on a calculator. And then I'm just having 2.6 here. And I'm just marking from that place into 2.6. And another 2.6. Another 2.6. And then the last one will be a 2.6. Okay, so in this, the second and the third, let me just check for this. So it has to be 2.6 is here, and then you have another 2.6 for the last one. So the second one and the fourth one, IO, I. So this is the first, second, this whole thing is 3, that's the fourth, and that's the fifth. So the fourth one is where your I will be. Now here what we understand at this stage is the gap between both eyes are one eye part itself, and that we have to be sure. Now the eyeball will come in the middle of the eye. And now with this the eye portion is done, and now we have to move on to placing the nose and the lips and also the eyebrows. Now we have to find where the hairline is, because the top of the crown is just the top of where the hair will be and all that. But then there is the top of the hairline. So you mark a hairline, and from the hairline you divide till the chin by 3. So we have a 17 divided by 3 is a 5.6. So mark a 5.6, another 5.6, and then you have another 5.6. So let me just, this is the 5.6. This is the first 5.6. So this one is, we are dividing from the hairline, we are dividing 3 equal parts. This is 1 by 3, this is 1 by 3, and this is also 1 by 3. Now this line is where your eyebrows are going to come. This is where your nose is going to end, and lip is going to be somewhere here, which I'm just going to show you how. Now what is going to be the width of the nose is the line that joins down to this nose line, and the width of the nose is the width of the gap between both the eyes. I'm just going to have dotted line that meets this nose line here, and so that is going to show me what is the width of the nose. Now from here
draw a bit darker.
Okay, so the nose is there, and now we're just going to find where the lip is going to be. So from the nose line to the bottom of the chin, again we are doing a measurement, and that is a 5.5, and that 5.5 should be divided into 3 again. Then I have a 1.8. So let me find 1.8 is here, and another 1.8 is here. Now the first part here will be the middle line of the lip, which is the lip line. The second part here is the dent that comes below the lip line. Okay, so now how wide your lip can be? Can you just draw a lip from here to here, or is it just somewhere here? How are we going to find that out? I'm just going to have the middle of the eye. I'm just going to mark the dotted line to cross this line, which is the lip line, and again start from the middle of the eye and then just cross the lip line, and then we know the lip is going to be anywhere within this width. I mean, it could be smaller. I'm just doing like feeble lines, and then I could just make it a little longer. Okay, so the lips are done. So this is the dent that comes below the lip, and here is where the eyebrows are going to be. Okay, so there we have the complete face. Now this is the front, and now for the ears. Where the ears usually come is from the eye to the nose. On the side is where we have the ears. And the ears on the side is always behind the jawline, which we will see on the 3D model anatomy lesson that we will be doing. So with this we have arrived at the measurements that we have to actually know for the face, where the first and foremost thing is the eye is on just the half the line from the crown to the chin. We just divided that into two and then drew a line. And then how much the eyes have to be far from each other is the eye part itself. And then you have one eye part on either side of the eye, because eyes do not end at the edge of the face. There is gap here, and for which to know how much gap we need to leave is one eye part. So we're just dividing this into 5. Then we have the second part, and the fourth part is the eye, and the third is the gap between the eye. And draw a line from there where it meets, and that will be the width of the nose. And then draw the line from the middle of the eye and then come down, and that is where the lip ends. From the nose to the chin, divide into 3. The first line is the lip line, and then the second line is the dent. And then we start from a hairline, and from there divide it into 3 parts. We have 1/3. The first part is the eyebrow, the second part is the end of the nose, and then obviously the third part is the end of the chin. So we have all these proportions here ready, and then we can be very sure that the features that we are going to put on the human face is just going to be perfect. So see you all in the next lesson. So I'm going to show a 3D model of the face and then also explain the measurements that we have made on the paper. So this is the measurements we made and marked the features of the face. And this is a flat 2D surface, but then we'll have better understanding if you're just going to use a 3D model to understand how the measurements are going to be and where the eyes, nose, lips are going to be placed, etc. So to start with this, you just need to start measuring. Like I've already said, the eye line is the half of the face, which will be starting right from the crown, the top of the head, till the chin. Like you can see, the measurement here is 20 centimeters. So let's also check where the eye is. So the eye is exactly here, that you can see. The 10 centimeter mark is where the eye line comes. So that is very important. That is the first thing that we will do. Start from the top till the chin, and then have the center marked, and exactly half of this we'll have the eye line, and this is where the center of the eye is going to come. Now how big the eyes can be placed is what we did. Like the 5 parts, this eye line is divided into 5 parts, and one eye part, and this is the same thing, which is the eye part. The gap between both the eyes is again one eye part. This exact distance is what you will find in between the eyes as well, and together we have 3 eye parts. Then the fourth and the fifth will be one on this side and the other on this side. So there is one eye part which is outside of either eyes. Both the eyes, you have one eye part. So the eye is not at the end of the face. You have to have one eye part left here, which is exactly the width of each eye, and then the gap in between the eye is also the same. So this is also very important to know the position of where the eye is going to be, and then the eyeball will be placed in the center of the eye. Now when that is done, and then the next thing we have to do is to find the hairline mark. The hairline mark is not the top of the crown. It is almost about 1.5 centimeters approximately from the top of the crown. Now if we do that, we would have, as we know, we already measured, this whole thing is about 20. And then to mark the hairline, we would have it at 18 or 18.5. I'm just using a pencil to mark the hairline. You see a very faint line for the hairline I have marked. Now from the hairline to the bottom of the chin has to be divided into 3 equal parts. Now that will be approximately 6 centimeters. Now let's start from the chin. So from the bottom of the chin, we can see the 6 centimeter is the bottom of the nose. And from the nose, the next 6 centimeter will be the eyebrow line. You can see the 6 is the eyebrow line. And from the eyebrow line, we have the next 6 for the hairline, which is where the forehead will end, and then the hair will start, and then they will fill up the top of the crown. Now, where will the nose fit and where will the lips fit, and how do we know what is the width of the lips and the nose? Now, from this bottom, we have drawn the line to know where the nose will end from the top. And we also know from where the eyes are going to be. Now we know that this width is one eye width. And now when you join the line, draw the line from this end and come down, and this end and come down. And that will be the width of the nose. And from this eyeball, come down, and this eyeball, come down straight. And beyond that point, the lip is not going to be there. Smaller lips will be within that. You could also have lips that are directly meeting the line from the middle of the eyeball. Now, where is the lip going to be placed? We know the width of the lip, but whether the lip is going to be here, or are we just going to get really very close to the nose? To know that, you have to divide the bottom of the nose to the chin into 3 equal parts. And when you divide that into 3 equal parts, the first part is the middle of the lip, the second part is this dent below the lip, and the third point is the chin itself. So to position where you have to have the lip, you have to divide from the bottom of the nose to the chin, and then have the first line as the middle of the lip, and then have the upper lip and the lower lip that has the middle of the lip in between. And then this will be the dent. So you all mark this second point as well. And then you will know where you have to end the bottom lip. And then you have the dent, because this shape that you see, that needs to be there. And then this dent will be already there at the second point. You cannot have this dent beyond that point. So marking this point is also important. Now, after having positioned the nose, we know the length of the nose, and then the lips, and the width of the lips, and the position of the lip. Now we also know where the eyebrow is going to come, and then to know where the ears are going to come. So the ears are always going to be right from the eye line to about the nose line. It will just end in between the eye and the nose. And the ears will always be behind the jawline. So we have the chin and then the jawline, and then you will have the ears behind the jawline, and the position you have to just make sure it is just within the nose line and the eye line, and that will be there on both the sides. So this will be about the face anatomy. It is always interesting to have a 3D model to understand, so it's just not ending, a 2D more on a paper, on a pencil. So we just have this drawing made and then understand the whole thing with the 3D model, and then it will be easier for sculpting the human faces when you're going to work on carving.